Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the debut of us live for a change. Of course, you've never seen our faces or anything like that. You've only had audio clips of us on your Google Podcast, Apple, and Spotify. We are doing live video coverage now. It's very exciting. Also, to top on that, it is our 1 year anniversary show. It is so exciting. We're glad, we have all our followers, our listeners, even if you're not an Astros fan, baseball fan. We're just glad you've been a part of us throughout this journey. When me and Will had gone this podcast together, we didn't know how it was going to end up. And I mean, right now, big things are coming. Like we said, we got the Astro season coming up. We'll be talking about the preview in a minute. Opening day is here. Baseball is here. 2023 starts now. And obviously, the Astros won it in 2022. They got to flip the page and then they got to go right back in and try to go back to back for the first time since the Yankees in the late 90s, early 2000s. But Angel, do you want to tell them the biggest news before we get started with our Astros roundup?
Yes, so so once again, thank you for joining us. Yes, like Lorenzo was saying, the Astros aren't the only thing debuting something special on opening day. We're also debuting our live Full Steam Ahead podcast, and this couldn't be possible without our Esquina. So we're proud to announce that we have joined the our Esquina network. Their mission is to amplify Latino voices and stories in sports. So go give them a shout, follow them on Twitter, go read some articles. Zoe and I have been working hard with them, publishing articles as well. So, you know, it's good things are coming for sure.
Yeah, good things are coming for sure. Like we said, like you said, Angel. I mean, shout out to them, Arskina. Go give them a follow. They're really cool people over there. But I'm just so excited. We finally got to have the chance to do a live show. We've been wanting to do this for a while. We thought about doing it last year at the end of the postseason, but we just waited and have it start up for the new season. And I'm just pumped. I'm excited. Opening day
Definitely.
is going to be here today. We get to see the unveiling of the Go banner. We'll probably see the rings get unveiled. If not today, it'll probably be tomorrow when the players get their rings. But let's go with Astros roundup. We have a little bit of going. Opening day rosters all set and done. We'll give you the Chicago White Sox preview of who the Astros are going to face, what the Astros are going to pitch out there, and then also around the league. Of course, we got to talk about around the league a little bit. We got some extensions that we have seen to the AL Central, and then of course, me and Angel are going to give our MLB awards and our MLB season predictions to see what teams are going to go and get the commissioner's trophy on top, and to put that along as well, the Astros. Hopefully we have to see one of them get one of them awards, but at the end of the day, we just got to wait and be patient and see what happens from there. So let's start us off with Astros roundup. The opening day roster is set, like I had said. Our five starting pitchers right now are going to be Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, and Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown looks good so far, they said. He threw a simulated game, but I don't remember if they gave us any update. I didn't see anything like that. So hopefully everything's good and done for him to get ready for that Tigers series after the White Sox series. In the bullpen, we got Ryan Presley, Hector Neris, Rafael Montero, Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, Brian Abreu, Ronel Blanco, and Seth Martinez. In the infield, we got Jose Abreu, Mauricio Dubon, David Hensley, Jeremy Pena, Alex Bregman. In the outfield, and I guess you could say DH as well, you got Jordan Alvarez, Chas McCormick, Jake Myers, Kyle Tucker, Corey Jolks. And then in the catcher's depth, we got Martin Maldonado, Yainier Diaz, and Cesar Salazar. So two notable players out of this list did not make it, unfortunately. Justin Dearden had a great spring training. I honestly predicted, like both of us were thinking about who's going to make it. I'd pick Dearden. You got that right with Corey Jokes. But I mean, I understand. I mean, this kid still got to work on some things. There's no problem with that. I would have loved to seen his bat at least in 2 games in the MLB level, but just like Corey Lee as well, he's gonna have to get some work in at AAA.
Yeah, Corey Lee was unfortunately option off, but it makes sense. Like he wasn't
Mhm.
getting he was not gonna get enough playing time in the big league, so it's not just for him to sit down on the bench. We want him to get those reps. This is what Corley had to say. He said, obviously, it's a little punch in the neck, but at the end of the day, it's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for the organization, good for everybody. I'm excited for the season, and at the end of the day, we get to play baseball. You know, I feel like he took it like a true professional. It's very easy to criticize maybe the organization or managers there, especially when you don't get the like when things don't go your way. So
Hmm.
he handled that like a true professional, like a true ball player, and he gets to put in that work and get better in AAA, and I'm sure we'll see him soon, maybe mid-year, September call-ups.
Yeah, I think he could. Like Dana Brown said, I'm pretty sure you'll say this in a minute, but I mean, Corey Lee just got to get working, and Cesar Salazar is a backup catcher. He's gone through the minor league system, not as much as Corey Lee, but Corey Lee is going to be the future of the Astros as the catcher, him and Yanier Diaz. Because as of now, we don't know what Martin Maldonado's the future is going to hold for him. I believe his contract expires this year as well. So I'm not sure if the Astros are going to give him, an extension, or if it's going to give like the treatment how they did with Correa, how they did with Yuli Gurriel, which I hope not, because I really like Martin Maldonado. I really like Maldi. He's done a lot ever since he came into Houston. He's helped this young core of pitchers that we have here as well. I really like the guy. I hope he stays, but at the same time too, the future's coming. Corey Lee's going to be that guy, I think.
Yeah, and then Dennis Brown's reasoning to demote Corey Lee is you can't have guys like that sitting on the bench at the major league level. You need to get him playing time. Salazar is a backup catcher. He fits that role better. Now, again, I agree with Dennis Brown. Corey Lee needs to see regular action instead of sitting on the bench, but I don't know. It's kind of a hit to Salazar for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hit too, but it could be a little bit of motivation for him too.
Yeah,
I
just
see that as if you're a player in his shoes and you hear that comment from your GM is like, well, hey man, I've had a good spring. I've showed y'all what I got. I made this roster for a reason. So I think it's just gonna make him humble and make him like more eager to do better at that job. I mean, you got Yanier Diaz too in that second backup role behind Maldi. So you're the last one to come into place would be Cesar Salazar, but you could put Diaz in the DH. They tried putting him in left field in that exhibition
yeah,
game at
I
Minute
saw
Maid
that.
Park, but they took him off the lineup. I wonder why. I haven't heard a reason why, but at the same time too, there's nothing wrong having Cesar Salazar there. I think it'd be good for him. I think it's good for Corey Lee as well. It's just giving these guys opportunities to see what major league action looks like.
Yeah, and I kind of like Diaz just again for his flexibility. He can be in the outfield, like you were saying, play some first base, DH, and catch. So, and then his bat is great.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, the opening day roster is set. You got Corey Jokes that made it. You got Cesar Salazar, you got Yainer Diaz, Ronel Blanco, and Seth Martinez. How do you feel about those five guys being on the opening day roster?
Oh, it's great. I'm sure it's great for them. You know,
Hmm.
getting to call their parents and those heartwarming conversations between the manager and the player. It's great, and I feel like they're gonna have immediate impacts. Like we've seen rookies like Pena, Julio Rodriguez have immediate impacts to their ball clubs, and I feel like Ronald Blanco and even Diaz have the capability to do that. To maybe they get hot when like one of our star players gets in like to a slump or something. I feel like they can pick up the slack from them.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Ronel Blanco, dude. I'm really excited
Yeah,
for him. We already saw how Seth Martinez did last year. Ronel Blanco is going to be next. He's going to be really the next Christian Javier, I say. I
I think
mean,
so.
yeah, I've already talked about stretching him into a starter soon. He's going to be that long relief guy when you need him in that bullpen. I mean, he had great numbers in the fall in the Dominican Winter League and then as well in spring training. So I'm very excited for him. Another interesting note to see too when we're going to see this opening day. Well, even really throughout the season, throughout the beginning, is going to be Corey Jokes. I'm really
Yeah,
eager and excited to see how he performs at the major league level. He mashed the ball last year in Sugarland, and I feel like he'll come into the majors with that same mentality, just being able to try to get on base. And this is going to put pressure on Jake Myers a lot. I say, if he
and
had a
McCormick.
and McCormick as well, but really for me, I think it's going to be Jake Myers because Corey Jokes already showed over there in AAA, the power that he has, the contact, the defense, and everything like that. He's shown Jake Myers, he still has that kind of nervousness trying to not dive or bang into the wall, which I understand on his part, but at the same time too, if you're gonna want to play in this major league level, you're gonna have to throw your body out in the postseason. You're gonna have, and he did that in Chicago when he did try to get that ball to rob that home run. At the same time too, he's just gonna have to show like, hey, I'm already over that fear. I could dive, I could jump, I could bang into the wall. Corey Jokes is gonna do whatever he can to try to stay on this roster.
Yeah, and he actually led the Astros in RBIs in the spring, so he's coming in blazing hot. And It'll be interesting to see when Alvarez hits that DH role, who gets that nod in the outfield. Because I know if our spring training, those last two games of spring training hold true, Dubon is going to get the majority playing time at second base. So I feel that opens up an outfield spot.
Yeah, I think they're gonna split that platoon at second with him and Hensley a lot. Obviously, Dubon's defense is, I believe, it's better than Hensley's, but at the same time, too, Hensley has that bat.
Yeah,
So, like ground ball pitchers, for instance, you're gonna have Framber Valdez, which is one of the best ground ball pitchers. You could put maybe Dubon there, and then Hensley with a fly ball kind of pitcher like Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy. Is it'll be interesting what they do at that platoon. I'm very excited to see that part. But let's move on to what we're really going to talk about is the Chicago White Sox come into town. The South Side of Chicago brings their debut to Minute Maid Park, and for the first day in opening day, which is today at 6:10 p.m. his first pitch, Dylan Cease will be taken on the mound for the White Sox with Framber Valdez as our starter for the Houston Astros. Dylan Cease, if you don't know about him, runner up for Cy Young, the Cy Young Award last year. I mean, he had a great year. If Verlander didn't pitch as well that he did, Dylan Cease would have been obviously the guy to get that award. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because you got two really Cy Young Award potential players pitching on this day on opening day. And there's a lot of Cy Young Award pitchers pitching, but these guys aren't there yet. They will be. But Dylan Cease versus the Astros. Astros have a big advantage. 0-3, the 6.30 ERA, 21 hits, 14 earned runs, 20 strikeouts. You have a 5-pitch arsenal. He uses that slider a lot more than anything. The fastball, of course, curveball, changeup, sinker. What are you seeing with the Astros hitters? How do you think their plan of attack is to go against Dylan Cease?
and I feel like they have all the White Sox starting rotations numbers, but I feel like the way Taco sees is they sit heavy on that slider, because he does throw it more often than his fastball. But if he has it going, that's the pitch you're looking for. If his sliders breaking ball is not there, definitely sit on that fastball.
Yeah, I mean the most interesting part right now, and I'm thinking of which batter is going to be having a little struggle. Is going to be
Pena,
Jeremy Pena, and that's that slider. I mean, any type of breaking pitch that's outside, that's been his really his kryptonite. He's been weak in that area. His discipline hasn't been the same. I'm hoping that he does really well this upcoming season, at least play discipline wise, because we're gonna really need him this first half since Altuve is not gonna be in that leadoff role. So next up, we got Framber Valdez, which the franchise is here. This is going to be his second start as the opening day starter. Obviously, Verlander was. Well, did Verlander pitch last year? No, he
no,
didn't.
it was Framber.
It was Framber, yes. So that's the first time since Dallas Keuchel in 2015, 2017, like you mentioned last time. Framber has had success against the White Sox, though. 5 games, 3-1 record, 3.41 ERA, 24 strikeouts. We're going to see a high dosage of that curveball, that fastball as well. Obviously, like I said earlier, he's going to get you with them ground balls. And he has a high ground ball percentage for a reason. That's going to be the key if the Astros are going to win this game on their defensive side, is if he could give the strikeouts and the ground balls, I think the Astros have no problem in winning this game.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see Valdez cook tomorrow night.
Yeah, and then next up we got Friday. Friday night fireworks. I believe the World Series Championship replica trophy comes out that day as well. Very exciting. It's going to be all fans. So if you're getting out of work at 5, don't worry, you're still going to be able to get one. Lance Lynn, he was on Team USA's starting rotation. He was the only pitcher I think that did really good for that World Baseball Classic roster for Team USA. 8.7, 3.99 ERA last year. Christian Javier's on the bump for the Astros. 8.6 record, 2.54 ERA. This is going to be a good matchup, I think. I mean, you got the Framber and Dylan Cease one, but I feel like this one's going to be very underrated because Lance Lynn does have good potential. He's battled with so many injuries though these past couple years. It just hasn't been great. And then Christian Javier, I mean, he's just coming off that contract extension that he just received from the Astros. He's going to be a dark horse, a sleeper, I say, for the Cy Young candidate for this year's American League. But for Lance Lynn, I mean, Astros continuing to dominate against these Chicago White Sox pitchers, but more than anybody, they have dominated Lance Lynn because he had his time in Texas, and obviously he had one start with the White Sox before he got hurt. In seven starts when he was with Texas and Chicago, 1-6, 43 and two thirds of innings pitched, 54 hits, 32 earned runs, 57 strikeouts. He still throws, he still has a high strikeout rate against the Astros, but the offense on his side has not supported him. But at the same time, the Astros just dominate against this guy. He throws a fastball, cutter, sinker, curveball, slider, changeup. So they're gonna have a six-pitch arsenal that this guy has. The Astros are going to have to pick up what he's going to throw.
Yeah, a lot of movement, especially with those cutters and sinkers. But if we can be aggressive on that fastball, we should be good to go.
Yeah, and then El Reptil on the other side. He's only had one start against the White Sox, and he won that game. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. So, like I said, I think this game's going to be really good. It's going to be a pitcher's duel. If Lance Lynn pitched how he did with the U.S., then this is going to be a pitcher's duel right here, this game at least. But at the same time, too, if the Astros have had success in the past with him, I think it's going to continue to carry on throughout this series.
Definitely. On Saturday we have it's a 1 o'clock game, so be ready for that one. Lucas Giolito comes in with a record of 11 wins, 9 losses. Last year he had an ERA of 4.90. He squares out versus Jose Urquidy, who last year was 13-8 with a 3.94 ERA. Last year, or 2 years ago, Lucas Giolito was the White Sox ace. He was the guy that they rallied upon around on. Against the Astros, he has 7 starts, 2-5 record, 6.2 ERA, and a 32 strikeouts. He has a 4 pitch repertoire, mostly fastball changeup, but he does throw in that slider and that 12-6 curveball. Now, I feel like Lucas Giolito has sneaky speed where he can get a fastball by you, especially since he throws all those off pitches. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think Jose Urquidy too is going to be a good one to see because obviously he came from that World Baseball Classic and he only pitched one time out of that WBC, and then he had to kind of, up elevate his pitch count because he threw I believe 50 or 60 pitches, whatever the cutoff was for that first game. But Lucas Giolito, I mean, you can't you he lost weight off in the offseason as well. He said in one of the interviews with the MLB Network that he carried a lot of weight and this offseason the first thing he wanted to do was cut weight and feel a lot better. And he said he feels way better. So it's going to be a different Lucas Giolito. I think it could be the potential of that ace that he was with the White Sox. I mean, we're going to see, like you said, he had a 4 pitch repertoire. I'm very interested to see if he'll throw that 12-6 a little bit more because that's been his bread and butter from those years when he was pitching really good for the White Sox.
He also changed his arm angle, so he has a different release on his pitches now. So we'll see how that plays into play on day 3 of the MLB season. He'll be going against Jose Urquidy, like you said, 2 starts versus the White Sox, 1-0 with a 1.84 ERA, 14.2 innings pitched, 10 hits, 3 earned runs, and 9 strikeouts. Decent numbers from Jose Urquidy. If we get the Jose Urquidy from Team Mexico, we should be good to go in this game. No issues
Yeah.
there. And if you can limit the long ball as well, I feel like that's one of his weak suits is that he allows many home runs, especially consecutively. So if we can get that going, we're good to go. Sunday, back-to-back 1 o'clock games against Mike Clevenger, which we know had some words to say about the Astros a few years ago, about the 2017 Astros saying it was illegit, but he hasn't been the same since. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's that. He'll be scoring off against Venezuela's own Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia comes in with a 15-8 record, 3.72 ERA. So, like we said, Mike Clevenger hasn't been the same Mike Clevenger he was with the Indians, now Guardians. Last year, he had a 7-7 record of 4.3 ERA, and against the Astros, he hasn't fared so nicely either. He's 1-3 with a 3.9 ERA, 19 hits, 9 runs. He does have 21 strikeouts. Now, Clevenger does throw 6 pitches, so which for a pitcher can be pretty deceptive, to keep the
Hmm.
hitters guessing. He does throw a fastball mostly. Second pitch is a slider, then sinker,
Sinker.
cutter, changeup, and curveball. So he likes to mix it up, but he's been struggling with command. Leaves a lot of pitches in the zone for hitters to hit. Again, after that Tommy John surgery, he hasn't been the same Mike Clevenger that he was once, where he was like this high end prospect that teams were giving the Guardians calls about daily. He'll be squaring off against Luis Garcia, who hasn't pitched yet against the White Sox, but if we see the same Garcia we've been seeing all season
Oh my
again.
god, yeah. Yeah,
So,
if we could see him when he did with Team Venezuela,
oh
I'm
yeah,
so down. I'm so excited if he's gonna be pitching like that for this year because that's gonna be that right there. Really, the 3, 4, and 5 is gonna be the key if the Astros are gonna want to win another World Series. I think.
yeah, I believe so, and hopefully he can rock some dreads with, maybe Astros cutters this time instead of Team Venezuela. That'd be pretty nice.
Well, I don't know because he kind of pitched pretty good with the red, yellow, blue
You
bead.
know
So
what? Let him
why?
keep it.
Yeah, exactly. Why do that? Just leave it. There, I mean, there's nothing wrong representing your country in the MLB. So I'm very excited to see Luis Garcia in action because I mean he's going to be a key contributor, I say, for this year's 2023 season run. So
And the
we
new
talked.
windup actually comes into play as well. I know
Oh
like he's
yeah,
been practicing in spring and like in spring training, but now actual baseball game, we'll see how he handles himself with the new windup.
yeah, it looked pretty good at how he was handling himself in spring training and even in the WBC. He didn't do the rock a baby in the WBC because he could have, but thank God he stayed on point and stayed focused and he decided just to pitch how he's going to have to pitch this coming season. So we talked about the preview with the White Sox. We talked about the pitching matchups. Give me your offensive MVP. Give me the offense, the pitching MVP, and give me one hot take out of this series that you're going to see from the Astros.
So my offense MVP is Kyle Tucker. Stays hot. Again, he's playing for that contract, trying to show not just the Astros management, but the fans,
Yeah,
rally up the fans. I want those pay Kyle Tucker signs, and stuff like that. I want them he's gonna want to put pressure on Astros management and give a glimpse to the baseball world that he's here ready to play and he might have a MVP caliber season. My pitching MVP, Christian Javier. He just
I
got
like it.
paid,
I
got the
like it.
bag. He's cold blooded. They call him El Reptil for a reason, right? He's gonna
Hmm.
go in and have the White Sox having to change their socks at the end of the game. Um, my hot take is Jose Abreu says hello to the Crawford boxes again.
I could see it.
You
I could
know,
see
he
that
he
happening.
has that power, mimic of Yuli Gurriel. I feel like he's gonna be spraying some fireworks over there in Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, I'm excited for Jose Abreu. I'm like that's one of the most like the one free agent I'm really excited that the Astros brought was him because not a lot of people thought we are gonna bring Jose Abreu. They didn't think they were gonna get a big bat, and sure enough, Jim Crane just dropped the money right there and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's go get him. If we're gonna want to continue to win this, with this championship run that we have, we need a big bat." And I think they did an upgrade, really. Not sorry to all the Yuli lovers out there. I love Yuli as well more than anybody else, but I think this is a huge upgrade. I mean, the offensive production, the exit velocity off his bat. I mean, I'm very excited for him.
Oh,
So
definitely.
so that's not my offensive MVP though. On the other hand, it's going to be Jordan Alvarez. I think from these little 3 games or 4 games that he had played, I think he still has it. And he hasn't seen live pitching since he turned the game upside down in that game 6 of the Phillies World Series. Throughout these exhibition games and the last 2 or 3 spring training games, like I had said, he smacks the ball gap to gap, hitting the ball to the warning track. I mean, this guy is just right there from hitting home runs like nothing.
Pure
And I
hitter.
exactly, and I feel like he's gonna have an MVP potential season as well, just like Kyle Tucker. And with the shift being banned, I think him and Tucker are gonna be one of the most guys to rely on to hit with RBIs, like with runners in scoring position. I meant to say.
Yeah, they're gonna make a living off that 4-3 hole for sure.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. I think he's gonna be coming up hot. I might even say he hits 2 home runs in this series. So you said a starting pitcher would be Christian Javier. I'm gonna go reliever. I'm gonna say Brian Abreu.
I like it.
And you could tell Will, I was not a big fan of
Oh, I
Brian Abreu.
know. Oh, I
I
know.
was not a fan of Brian Abreu. Oh my god, when he pitched against Texas in the beginning of the season, I was like, my gosh, this guy's gonna blow a save. He's gonna blow some runs. I wasn't a big fan. This guy shut me up, and I'm glad he shut me up because the postseason he had, one of the best postseason. He could even been a World Series MVP.
I think so.
If Jerry Payne didn't have that, it could have been him. It could have been Ryan Presley. You could even give the whole bullpen an award just for the way they pitched. And Brian Abreu was one of them guys and last season to continue that success in the postseason and the World Series. So I think he's going to stay hot. I still think he's going to be that guy too in the bullpen in high leverage situations that Dusty had trusted with him and Stanek. But I think he's going to be used a little bit more because of what he did last year. So I think Brian Abreu is going to be that guy to keep hitters unbalanced. I mean, we're going to see Luis Robert Jr. We're going to see Yohan Makata. We're going to see Eloy Jimenez. And then the young prospect Oscar Colas, I mean, he's really good. He is really good. You wrote a thing about him. I've
Yeah,
seen some highlights on him. I told y'all too. If y'all haven't seen no highlights of him, this guy has monster power. I mean, he's really good. He's going to be a dark horse for the rookie of the year. But enough talk about the White Sox lineup. Brian Brady is going to shut them down. And my hot take: Jeremy Pena will get 4 more hits in that leadoff role in this series, 4 more hits, and will only strike out max of 4 times. I only think he'll strike
I
out
believe
four
that.
times. If he, like I said, if this guy's discipline continues to be impressive, I mean, it wasn't very impressive in spring training, but it looked like he improved, and that's what one thing he was trying to do was trying to improve his play discipline. So we're gonna see that in this White Sox series that he's gonna be more calm, more patient at the plate as well, and let the ball come to him because after him, pitchers are gonna have to pitch to Bregman. So
Yeah.
it gives him a little bit more cushion. So that's our offensive pitching MVPs. That's our hot takes. Hopefully our hot takes are right. Hopefully the offense and pitching MVPs come right. But hopefully the Astros get a series win. If they get a series sweep, that's even better. But at the
Bring up
same
the
time, too,
broomsticks.
yeah, bring out the broomsticks early and show the league we're not playing around about getting this going back to back. But that is all for Astros Roundup. And we're going to move on to Around the League. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Guardians' second baseman, which I think when Jose Altuve retires, this guy's going to be the next guy to be what the next decade of being the best second baseman. I really
Yeah,
think
he's
he's
smooth.
going to be, yeah, he's going to be this guy. And that's going to be Andres Jimenez from the Cleveland Guardians. He finalized a long term contract extension worth 7 years, 106.5 million. He has a club option for the 2031 season. And remember, Francisco Lindor was traded to the New York Mets, and the Guardians receive Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez, which Jimenez was their top prospect over there with the Mets. And they basically paid a little. This was a
Yeah.
still I said for the Guardians because obviously Steve Cohen really didn't care about the money. He has the money and he's going to pay that shortstop. And Francisco Lindor really started the shortstop market on the map because of what he did over there. And I mean, the Guardians just saved money, and I think this is a fascinating move for them.
Oh yeah, it's a great move for them. Again, Jimenez is an all-around player. Can field it, can hit it. Can hit it up, can hit the ball over the fence as well. He was an all-star last year, and I can see a lot of more all-star games for him as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited for them. We'll talk about our MLB predictions for the season. Who's going to take what team from each division? So they're going to be good. They're still going to be good. They almost beat New York last year.
Yeah, they're
So
close.
Andres Jimenez is going to be a key contributor with him and Jose Ramirez there.
You know what? I feel like if Josh Naylor doesn't do that rock the baby
I think
celebration,
so too.
I think the
I
Guardians take that. I feel like that
I
was like
think
a
so.
motivation. Like I feel like the Yankees took that to heart and played with that rage to get that series win.
Yeah,
But
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead. But moving on, um, through around the league, Sergio Romo's last appearance. What a heartwarming exit for the Giants. Like for the Giants star, he
Hmm.
won 3 World Series with them. El Mechon again pitched his last game in the big leagues against the Oakland A's on Monday. 137 saves, two All Star. I'm sorry, an All Star in 2013, and then like how we said, a 3-time World Series champion. And then a nice gesture that he did was every time kids asked him for an autograph, he would ask them for an autograph as well. So
Wow.
I believe MLB posted a picture of his hat, and he had like a ton of kid signatures all around the hat. He was just enjoying the moment, relinquishing, breathing the air of that last breath in the pitcher's mound. Like it was such a great moment for that.
My gosh. I mean, he really is he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry to say that, but he did have a huge impact, not just with the Giants organization, but the San Francisco community.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could just tell fans really love him. He was a fan favorite. I mean, he was like I said, a key contributor to that. What would you really call it a dynasty? The
Oh, for
2010,
sure.
2012, 2014 World Series champions over there. I mean,
I feel like when you win three World Series in that short amount of span, it's a dynasty, especially with
well,
Tim
yeah,
Lincecum. Yeah.
yeah. I think it was in 5 World Series that they had won three. I think I'm not 100% sure, but
They were like the Astros where they win every other year, but
mhm.
unfortunately, the Astros didn't win three, but they did.
Yeah, I love what he did though. What Romo did for the kids. You never know them signatures in his head. You never know. It could be the next Mike Trout. It could be the
Yeah.
next Julio Rodriguez. It could be the next Bryce Harper. It's very exciting. You just don't know what you have in store for this game.
And they play a kids game, you know. I feel that that's what's it about, getting the kids involved in the sport, expanding it, you know, and just sharing the love.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the future of baseball. Especially it's expanding in worldwide. Like the WBC was probably this was probably the best
Oh,
WBC
for sure.
ever. This was probably like hands down. This was the best. I mean, you have Japan, you got Australia, the Czech Republic. Now we could be seeing more, prospects coming from there. You
And
just
it's
never
crazy
know now.
because the Czech Republic had, you know, players that weren't full time baseball players, and they were still not last. Like, I
Yeah,
think they were like third to last, but hey, you know, the last team actually had dedicated baseball players and never
yeah.
last. So I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, the future of baseball is just bright. It's bright with all these young, talented kids that's going to be making up their way, just like Jordan Walker, the future Corbin Carroll, Gunnar Henderson, guys like that. You never know. Them guys, the kids that signed his hat could be the next future for these guys. So now it's time for our MLB season predictions. We talked about what we expected from each team. Like I said, Andres Jimenez and Jose Ramirez with the Guardians. You got Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole, Giancarlo Stanton with the Yankees. So, of course, we had to break down our predictions, and I'll go first. I'll go with the American League. In the AL East, I got the Yankees. I still think they're still a good team. They got the pitching. I really think they upgrade their pitching, bringing in Carlos Rodon. As of right now, though, they only have two starting
Yeah,
pitchers, with Luis Severino being out, Rodon being out, and I can't think of the other guy on the top of my head. But I mean, that sucks right now for them. The AL Central, I got the Minnesota Twins. I think they're going to be really good this year. I think they're going to be a really sleeper too in that division with Pablo Lopez. You got Joe Ryan. I think Sonny Gray still got it. Bringing back Carlos Correa helps out. And if I've said this last year, if Byron Bucks can stay healthy, this guy could be an MVP candidate and help the Twins actually make a big, big push in the postseason. Next up, I got the Astros winning the AL West. I still think, the American League still runs to the Astros. I think they're just too talented, starting pitching, bullpen, hitting wise. I mean, everywhere they're just really strong. And then the wild cards. This one, it kind of gets interesting. I got the Tampa Bay Rays in the first wild card, and I got the Seattle Mariners in the second wild card. Rays pitching underrated, underrated. I feel like not a lot of people give them a lot of props because of the market where they're at. They don't bring in a big ton of big household names. I mean, the only household name you would say would be Randy Rosarena because of what he did in the WBC, and then of course in the 2020 postseason, he just went off. But I mean, the starting pitching, dude, Drew Rasmussen, Shane McClanahan, Tyler Glass now. You got Shane Bass too that could be coming into play. Jeffrey Springs. I mean, these guys are loaded in starting rotation. They're just like the Astros with the bullpen and the rotation. They have a lot of pitching depth.
for sure. Now, for me, my American League picks is where I'm on the contrary. For the AL East, I have the Blue Jays. I feel like the Yankees pitching injuries will be their nightmare and will eventually bring them a little bit behind where they don't get to catch up in the American League East. In the in the American League Central, I have the Guardians. That pitching staff is great. Their offense is great as well. That's an all around team. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you don't have to win too many games in the AL Central to be
Yeah.
at the top. So I feel like they got that one hold it down. And again, AL West, where a unanimous Houston. I feel like it was Houston Astros for sure. Seattle will put up a fight, definitely, but they will. I feel the Astros hold off. Wild card one and wild card two will be the Yankees battle the Seattle Mariners, where I feel like the Seattle Mariners beat the Yankees in the wild card to advance.
Is that format still going on with the two wild card teams going first?
I believe so, but I could be wrong.
I'm trying to think because no, you're right because the Blue Jays and the Mariners faced off last year and the
Yep.
Mariners beat them to play Houston. Okay, my fault. I was thinking of 2021 and 20, the old format, but National League now. Give me your National League picks.
National League picks the Braves going back to back. NL East. I feel like that team's so good. The Mets have a good team, but I don't know. I feel like the Braves just that chemistry's there, and there's just like that's a team to beat out there. The Phillies, I feel like the rotation got better, but not as good. And then their offense is good, but I feel like they also are battling injuries. So I feel the Braves take
Yeah,
that one.
two big injuries though for the Phillies though. I mean, Bryce Harper and Reese Hoskins.
Yeah,
That's hard.
yeah. I mean, hopefully they can have some prospects that can cut up the slack, but I, I feel like it won't be that much of a difference. For
Mhm.
my NL Central, the Cardinals will again win that division. I feel like the Brewers had a good chance last year, but they traded away some key pieces instead of
Mhm.
buying. They were sellers, which when you're competing for the division, I feel like it's the wrong trajectory to go. So
Mhm.
and then the Cardinals are just loaded with stars. They got Jordan Walker coming in. Their pitching's a little rocky. I feel like that's gonna be their deficit, but I feel like they do enough to win the division. My NL West, the San Diego Padres. I
Yeah.
know everybody's looming Dodgers, but I feel like the Padres showed in that postseason that they're not scared of the Dodgers at all,
Nope.
and they have the ability to do great things in that division. Wild card one and wild card two, Dodgers and Mets square off. Where I say the Mets take those games and leave the Dodgers in the dust.
All right, so since we're talking about the wild cards and everything, go ahead and throw us your ALCS, NLCS, and the World Series. Might as well just go right now. Who
Okay,
goes?
so just the World like who goes to the World Series?
Well, yeah, basically who beats who in the NLCS and ALCS to advance to the World Series and who wins the World Series.
The Astros beat the Mariners
Oh, part two. Well,
part
not really
two.
part two, but they were the ALDS. I guess you could say part two, but this time it's a little bit more bigger.
Yeah, Astros beat the Mariners to advance to the World Series. The Padres beat the Braves to go to the
Wow.
World Series, and we have a Astros San Diego matchup where Astros come on top. What about you?
How many games?
Let's go seven and make it
Seven?
interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. 3-3. Playing for all the chips on the table. I love it. I love it. National League, real quick. I mean, you already said it. Braves. I mean, that starting rotation too. You forgot to mention that.
Oh
Max
yeah.
Fried, Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider is going to be a very interesting player. I'm very excited for him. Um, the NL Central, like you said, the Cardinals. That lineup is stacked. It's really good. The West, the Padres. I feel like they take over that West division now. The Dodgers have done it so long. I think it's ready for a new team. But I do have the Dodgers going for that wild card one spot because I mean they're still a good team. The offense is still good. They added JD Martinez, some veterans, David Peralta as well. The only thing for them, I feel like it's going to be pitching. If pitching could kind of hold up and they don't have any more injuries, they're a lock at that wild card and could potentially be better. And then of course, and like you, I got the Mets too in that second wild card spot. But ALCS, NLCS, I got Astros. I got Astros and Mariners.
Okay.
I I, I agree with you because that Mariner. I mean, people don't really like last year. I said whoever's gonna win the American League and who's gonna be the toughest opponent, it's gonna be the Mariners. They
Yeah.
had Luis Castillo. George Kirby is really good. Logan Gilbert's really good too. Robbie Ray, of course, Jordan Alvarez launched the ball to another freaking planet. But I mean, Robbie Ray is still a former Cy Young Award. He could have changed his mechanics this offseason and he could be a key contributor for them. So I got the Astros going over the Mariners. And for the National League, I got the Braves and I get the Padres too. But I say it's going to be a 2021 World Series all over again. It's going to be a rematch. I think it's the Braves and the Astros. And this time, a healthy Astros and a healthy Braves. We get to see Ronald Acuna Jr. pitch, and we get to see a healthy Lance McCullers Jr. pitch. We get to see them two guys that missed out in the last World Series. I think the Astros take it in Game 6. I say
Okay.
in Game 6. I say
S-
they'll win the World Series,
So
going
they'll
back
just
to back.
okay. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the MLB season. Like I said, a lot of good teams, a lot of underrated teams as well. Just think about the Orioles. The Orioles last year, for instance, I don't think nobody, absolutely no, same thing as the Guardians. Nobody had them win the division at all. So it's going to be a very interesting MLB season. We'll see the Astros go back to back. Like we said, I think, like you even mentioned too, the Mariners are going to really give them a run for their money. But we talked about the season. Let's talk about individual awards. And for the MLB award predictions, I'll go first since you went first on the seasons. I'm gonna go NL and AL Cy Young. I will go with Corbin Burns winning the National League. I'm gonna go with the Shohei Otani winning the American League. I think that left a
Perfect.
sour. I think it left a sour taste in Burns' mouth when he had gone to arbitration hearings with the Brewers. In the beginning of that spring training, they were talking about, oh, well, you didn't do this part. You didn't look like you did this. This dude won a Cy Young for y'all. I mean, he carried that starting rotation. Him and Brandon Woodruff. Without him, the Brewers are not even close to. They could barely probably be above 500 winning percentage
I
wise.
definitely.
So I think Corbin Burns goes and takes that before he hits free agency because I highly doubt he'll stay in Milwaukee unless Milwaukee just throws in the cash. Shohei Otani, on the other hand, I think he's going to have a good season on the mound. He finished fourth in the Cy Young voting last year, and obviously he'll be a free agent this coming year. So he's going to show everybody what he's really worth, and I think he'll take that award.
My second predictions are in the NL. Sandy Alcantara goes back to back. I feel
Wow.
like he's a star in Miami. I feel like playing in Miami is just a vibe, especially for since it's like a Dominican Republic and Cuban, capital. I feel like having that fan support around them is really motivating. And just like you said, for the AL, Shohei Otani, he's gonna show the whole league why he deserves half $1 billion. Like he's
Yeah,
gonna get
he's
paid
he's going to be that first guy to get 500 plus. There is no way you're paying this guy unlike what Trout. I think Trout has like
400 something.
460. I think he has 460. I want to say. I can't. Like I said, I just don't know at the top of my head, but I'm just estimating at this point. But I mean, Otani's going to be the first guy. I mean, the guy could throw over 100 miles per hour, and he could hit over. The X velocity off his bat's over 100. So and we have similar picks on the Cy Youngs. The MVP, I'm gonna go with Manny Machado. I
Okay.
think this is the year that he finally gets the MVP. He's been finalist, I think, for the past 2 years now. The Padres went and got him on that extension, which I really thought that was a fascinating and an impressive move for them because he's literally the captain for the Padres. Fernando Tatis with the whole cheating situation with the PEDs and things like that. They got Xander Bogaerts. He's very vocal. He's that guy. He's that leader. He's going to set the tone for the Padres to make their first appearance in the World Series. And then MVP, I mean, if Otani wins the Cy Young, I'm going to go with him win the MVP as well. Puts over 30 home runs, hits over 100 RBIs. He has speed as well. The OPS is good. There's just no doubt that this guy doesn't win his second MVP before he hits free agency.
For me, give me Manny Machado's teammate Juan Soto. I feel like
Oh,
again, he's trying to get his big money as well. You know, especially playing in the Padres, like in the Padres stadium. It's kind of hard to hit home runs, but he'll get it done. And I feel like he takes that MVP. And for AO MVP, Shohei Otani as well. There's just
there's just no. I mean,
yeah, no words to describe him. Like
it's hard because my second choice would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm ready to see him kind of explode from what 2021 he was the runner up MVP to Otani. I'm just ready for Vladdy Jr. just to like start ramping up and contribute to the Blue Jays, which he does, but I want to see him. He almost had the triple crown that other year too, as well. So I'm very excited for him to see what he does. Give me your NL AO Rookie of the Years.
Rookie of the Year, NL, we have Corbin Carroll from Arizona. I feel that speed kills, and he has
Mhm.
sneaky pop. And I feel the ball travels in Chase Field with that high humidity that it has there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he has a potential to be a 5-tool player out there in the outfield. And my AO Rookie of the Year is Gunnar Henderson. I know I really want to say Hunter Brown, but Gunnar Henderson is an all-around player. He's gonna come up big for the Orioles, maybe even compete for a wild card spot at the end, and I feel like he'll be a big part of that.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm excited to see Gunnar Henderson too, but I have the same as you with the AL Rookie of the Year with him. But my NL is going to be Jordan Walker. This is basically last episode's more depth why who should win the award. But Jordan Walker, I mean, he had an impressive spring training. This guy is 20 years old, and when you look at him, he is built like like a mid to 25 bodybuilder. Like he is so built. Like it doesn't even look like he is appropriate for his age. But he has power. He could play. I mean, he was originally a third baseman, but the Cardinals transferred him into an outfielder. So if you really think about it, he could be a sneaky utility player for the Cardinals. Like if they don't already have enough utility players with Tommy Edman and Brandon Donovan as well, now you got Jordan Walker in the mix. You could put him in the DH. So I think he's going to be a big, impactful player for the Cardinals because the offense has really not performed as they would in the postseason. And I think he could become like a Carlos Correa when it comes to the postseason. Because Correa did it in 2015 and he just hit a bunch of, I think, what, 3 or 4 home runs in the postseason. So it'll be interesting who takes the rookie of the year in that part. Comeback player of the year, we saw Albert Pujols win that award for the National League. We saw Justin Verlander, Houston Astros' very own, win it for the American League. Comeback player of the year.
I,
Who comes back and shows out?
Give me Chris Bryant in the National League. He was derailed by injuries last year. He starts off fresh in Coors Field. He's gonna be
Hitter
good. He's gonna be
hitters
good.
friendly ballpark as
Yeah,
well.
he's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
good.
I agree. And we both have the same comeback player of the years. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I think the American League would be Anthony Rendon. The
Yeah.
Texas native, Houston, Texas native, is gonna be able to contribute for the Angels. They gave him that big contract. I think this is his fourth year, I believe, on the Angels roster. It's the third or fourth year and that I don't even know his contract, whatever it was, but it's gonna finally pay off for the Angels. The Angels have struggled to make the postseason with Trout and Otani, and Trout only made it to the postseason once. Otani hasn't made it to zero. And the
Oh
person
wow.
that's going to be the key X factor to the Angels having some success in the AL West, it's going to be Anthony Rendon because obviously we saw him in the World Series how he did. When he played at Rice University, he was a good hitter. I mean, Wayne Grand, the former head coach, had said good things about him. So if this offense and if the Angels are going to really show out this year, it's going to be him performing at a high level for the Angels.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, so we already announced that. Give us the old heads, give us the managers. Olivia Marmot is a young guy, but old managers, of course, it's going to be those, the old heads, the wise men, I guess you could say as well. So the manager of the years for me, it's going to be Bob Melvin from the San Diego Padres. He's going to take them to their first World Series, well, second World Series ever. They won't win the World Series, but he's going to, help these guys out to be able to reach the top. He's done it with the Oakland Athletics, making it to the postseason. Last year, he helped the Padres make it to the postseason and really made it to the NLCS for a good while. And then on the American League side, I really don't. Uh, it's tough for me to say, but it's going to be Scott Service. I mean, he really had a good year last year for the Mariners. He helped them out get that longest drought in what major sports history. 21 seasons not make it to the playoffs. I mean, that's that's kind of hard. And
Yeah.
Scott Service was that key guy. And this year, I think he's going to be a key contributor to making it really deep into the postseason and making it to the ALCS for the Mariners. So they're my two picks. What are yours?
For the National League, will be Troy Lavuyo from Arizona Diamondbacks. I feel he has the
Wow.
prospects and the veterans in that team to turn that team around. Look for them to be competing in that NL West. Maybe they're not there yet to win a division, but I wouldn't count them out from sneaking in a wild card 2 spot or just being up there for competing. And the AO manager is Brandon Hyde. I feel like
Brandon
he
Hyde.
Brandon Hyde for the
Wow.
Baltimore Orioles. I feel again Orioles are gonna exceed expectation for a second year in a row. And again, maybe just maybe if the cards are right, sneak into that wild card spot.
Yeah, last year's manager of the years was Terry Francona and Buck Showalter, which Buck Showalter did a great job for the Mets because that was his first year. I was really surprised, but not surprised too that Terry Francona won it because he took a young Cleveland Guardians team to the postseason, and they almost beat the Yankees. They almost beat them, and they were the youngest postseason team, compared from all the other teams in the postseason. So, but Brandon Hyde did have a great year. Like I said, no one expected the Orioles to be in the wild card hunt, and there were a couple games back from the Mariners getting that last spot. So, it'll be interesting for this year's MLB awards. I'm very excited. Like I said, very excited opening days here. Very excited. Baseball is finally back. Being able to smell the fresh grass, see the clay on the dirt,
Hot
the big
dogs.
hot dogs, alcoholic beverages, the bigger bases. I'm ready to see some,
Yeah.
I'm not really about the pitch clock, but the bigger bases, I'm ready to see some guys steal the bag.
Oh, definitely. I feel like Tucker's gonna take great advantage of that.
30-30 guy. I'm calling it right now, 30-30
I
guy.
see it.
But before we end our show, like we had mentioned yesterday, we are giving away for our 1 year anniversary some giveaways. We have some bobbleheads we're going to be giving out, some replica rings, and one pair of tickets to a 2023 game this season. We have yet to decide which ones yet, but we will let you know at the time. But right now, since we're on, we do got one of them being a Lance McCullers Jr. bobblehead,
Nice.
and then the other one, our very own King Tuck.
Oh,
King Tuck.
the
If it's not,
stretch.
yeah, it's the Kyle Tucker stretch. I don't have the King Tuck, but it is the stretch bobblehead. This guy's gonna be an MVP. Just watch. He will. Hopefully, he does get paid from the Astros. That 10-year contract. I think he should get it. But getting off topic, them are our giveaways for this year. Replica rings. You'll see what we got. We just didn't want to give it away too much. But also, you will receive if you win the bobbleheads and the rings, you will get this commemorative full seam ahead sticker. You can put it on your laptop. You can put it on your Yeti cups, your coolers as well. I mean, they're really good to have. We got pins. We got I can't think of the other some type of other pin as well. So I mean, if you continue to follow us, continue to subscribe. We're gonna be putting our first episode on YouTube, so we're gonna try to boost up our subscribers on YouTube. Like we said, this is our first live show for this year's season. There's gonna be many more to come. There's gonna be even many more giveaways to come as well. But we are just excited to have all of y'all back. Like we said, continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts as well. But baseball is back. I'm just very excited for the season to get underway, see what the Astros have in store for every Houston Astros fan out there. But Angel, do you have anything else before we get off the air?
Thank you for joining us. Again, we do this for y'all to give you the best insight we possibly can on Astros and around the league baseball. Peace.
Exactly. Well, we will talk to y'all after the conclusion of the White Sox series. We'll go ahead and give a preview on as well on the Tiger series when AJ Hinch and Miguel Cabrera, his last dance, come into town. But we will talk to y'all later. Happy opening day once again. Hopefully the Astros do good, and we will talk to you on the recap of the Chicago White Sox series. See ya.